Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis of uranium. I've got the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust behind me. I changed it to U.UN, which is it's got a little bit more data. It's not the OTC. Someone recommended. I said, sure, I can do this. And I'll go over all these companies, guys. It's just my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. And I'll let the charts do the talking because that's where we should be finding our information. So here's the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. We're coming up to this resistance line, the last one before I think we start to rock and roll. The volume on the right-hand side is kicking up. Keep in mind this is a monthly candlestick, so these are monthly candlesticks. Hopefully we can break and close above this resistance line. Looking at the daily candlesticks as we come up, you can see that we're getting a little bit of resistance there, which is normal. Hopefully we can bust out of here and not come and fall back down. If we do fall back down, I'd like to see that this thing makes a higher low. So that is what I'm looking for. And I think it will. I think it will. I mean, I don't like making predictions. We have to see what the markets tell us. Looking at the 5-day trading, you can see we got a little bit of resistance up here. We come up, we kind of pull back. We come up, we pull back. But it's not huge selling pressure. We're not just blowing out. So we got to see what the buyers and sellers and how they interact with each other up here. We got to see what happens. Could we pull back? We could. And the pullback may only be sideways on top of this line. It may rest a little bit. We've seen that in some of the other areas. Highly depends on what the physical price of uranium does. And we can look at that real quick. You know what? I think it's UX. This is the physical price of uranium. We're up 58.50. I don't know if this is delayed or anything. This is the current contract in the front. You can see this thing moving on up quite dramatically. So this also looks pretty solid. I really like how you get these big buying pressure, small sell-off. This is totally a characteristic of a big bull market that's coming. These big up days, these big buying pressure days, and then the small leak off of sellers. I love the way this pattern and chart looks. Looks very strong. Looking at URNM, this is the North Shore Global Uranium Mining ETF. Get a little bit of a sell-off today. Looking at the 5-day, we could have a little bit of a pullback. And what I mean by this is all you really look for are like downtrends and uptrends and stuff. So we've got kind of a trend line down here that's coming up. And then we hit kind of we hit our head on this guy here. You know, we're getting a little bit of selling pressure up here. So we hit our head, and then we're kind of coming on back between these two lines. We might come back a little bit in the short term before heading higher, is what I'm trying to tell you. So don't be afraid if this thing falls back down towards this support line, because if we get back to the support line, we'll see what it looks like, and then again, it might be a little bit of a buying opportunity. Bannerman up 8.37%. It's pretty large. Good old little Banny, 10 Baggerman. Again, I still like it in this general vicinity. It's sitting on top of the pattern. It's a falling wedge. Everything looks good. Goviax has a similar pattern. Could it pull back? It could, guys. It could pull all the way back to this line again. Remember, I'm not in the game of making predictions. I'm in the game of probabilities where I think this is a good spot to be looking. Especially if it pulls back here, I'd definitely be a buyer. Buy some more. Global Atomic, it's still right at its resistance line. Could we roll back over, or are we just going to shoot higher here? We'll see what the buyers sellers do. If I were to look at this, and just by like looking at the chart, I would think that we might get a little bit more of a pullback before heading higher. So we might get a pullback. Why do I think that? When you look at this pattern here, you get this big sell-off, and then the buyers didn't bounce. They didn't bounce as much as the sellers. So it may roll back and do some sort of sideways to maybe slightly lower action. Thesis is still hanging in there. May the Thesis be with everyone on this channel. So we're just moving sideways. Small little update today. Pure Point Uranium moving sideways in this channel. Deep Yellow, another one that's got, it's up a little bit of selling pressure. What I mean by that, if I look at the 5-day, it was coming up, and then we kind of just came on back a little bit. So little traded volume here. Looking at Paladin, Paladin is still on its resistance line. It gapped lower, and we tried heading it back up, using it as support. Sky Harbor, small little update today. Again, we've got lots of sellers up there. We're trying, but their sellers are strong, guys. This one looks like it wants to come on back, probably come back to this support area. We've got a large selling pressure day, and then the weaker buying pressure, and then we went right into a bearish engulfing pattern, which usually goes lower on the short term. Next Gen Energy, it looks like it's trying to get up there. It's just stalling out a little bit, stalling out. We get little wicks at the top. It's getting a little bit tired, Base load, it's still looking pretty good, up 6%, little wick at the top. I like when they finish really strong. Like this day's a beautiful day right there. That's a beautiful day. It looks like it wants to go higher. That's what I like seeing. This was another really beautiful day there. This is a good day there. Like it wants to go up. But that's what I look for. FISOF 3.0. So this is Fission 3.0, just chopping sideways. Regular OG Fission still at resistance. Camco, a little bit of a down move. We might do a little retest move before heading higher. So just be patient, guys. It's coming. Kazatomprom, sideways day to day. Not really much to say there. Still doesn't look that great. Peninsula Energy still chilling out. It still looks okay. It's right above the breakout of the trend line pattern. We've got Boss Energy just chopping sideways, playing ping pong again against its resistance support areas. I think it will head lower there. It does look like it might want to head a little bit lower. We'll see. Again, just chopping sideways. These are they're all staying inside the patterns, guys. This guy's trying to break out. It's struggling. It's getting, gapped higher here and then finished with the momentum heading lower to the closing point. So that's Lotus Resources. Looking at UROY, hopefully UROY comes back and bounces off this guy. I'd buy it again. I'll keep buying it. I don't care. Encore Energy, I thought this was going to close up. Came back and it's back at this support line. You got what I need. Right on the resistance, guys. Look at that. A little bit of selling pressure up there. See those wicks? A little bit of selling pressure. We might head back down a little bit before heading higher. URG getting a little bit of selling pressure. UEC, another one that's getting a little bit of selling pressure. Not much, but there's some sellers right in this general vicinity. Looking at LEU. This, again, it looks like it wants to kind of roll back over before heading up. And it depends what the sellers do. The sellers could blow this down further. And then we've got really good resistance right here. Ooh, man, it touched right on resistance there. That's a really good thing. It could come and bounce again. On this bounce, I would buy it again. That's what I would do. LTBR, small little sideways day, still looking good. ISO Energy, it looks like we do want to pull back a little bit in ISO, just off this bearish engulfing pattern. This pattern here is engulfing the ones before it. Usually that's a reversal pattern to go lower. Appia Energy, another one that I like in this general vicinity. I bought some in here. It still looks okay. Denison Mines, a little bit of selling pressure up here. That's what this candlestick is today. We could be doing a little bit more bouncing. Blue Sky Uranium, yeah, it's a bearish piercing that usually heads a little bit lower. That's when the opening price covers and the closing price covers the closing price of the day before. Forum Energy Metals, you can see this is kind of coming to some point here. We might have a little break. Well, we could break to the upside, but by looking at some of the other ones in the sector, I think we might have a little bit of a pullback. AEC, sideways. Anfield here looks okay. Looking at Laramide, another one I like in this general vicinity for a potential buy. Western uranium vanadium looks like it wants to go lower. Like I said, large selling pressure, and then the buyers could not respond to it. And then it leads right into a bearish engulfing. So this looks like it wants to head lower. UEXCF, another one that's been kind of moving sideways. It's not necessarily a bearish piercing, but it's close. We do have some stronger selling pressure. It looks like the sellers are starting to step up. We'll see what happens. Mega uranium, 2 little small down days there. It still looks good. Standard just moving sideways. ALX Resources Corp moving sideways here. Nothing real too big. Asian Corp moving sideways, squeezing up inside of this gigantic pattern. Man, this is a big pattern, guys. So usually the way that this thing works, let me just try something here, guys. So if you kind of come off this bottom here, go back here. You know, you've got this section here that's been squeezing up. Usually it's the entrance of it is the size of the potential breakout. So this could be a pretty big breakout once it goes. Valor Metals. Looks like another large down day today. I mean, we could pull back a little bit. I still like this setup though, right in this location. Elevate Uranium, moving on in. Again, I like it in this general vicinity. Still looks good. But I mean, overall, guys, it looks like we could potentially have a pullback for, you know, a little bit. We're at resistance on a lot of them. We might pull back a little bit. It doesn't mean that this rally's over. What it means is we might pull back for a day or two and then we're at it again. So again, what I'm looking for is, would I be a buyer at this exact spot? You know, let it pull back the next day or two if it does. If it does, I'm going to buy some more. Which one would I buy? Appia Energy is the one that I purchased in here recently. Mega Uranium looks kind of interesting. Encore Energy looks like it's ready to break. So that'd be one if I start seeing some strength. I would add into that one. Bannerman, Goviax, some of the African crew looks strong. A lot of them look pretty good. They still look good, but we might have a very short-term pullback before a move higher. And again, guys, we might not. So that's why I don't trade in and out. I just buy my shares, I hold on, and then if we get a little bit of weakness, I'm going to fire some more off. And again, guys, like, just be patient. It'll come. It will come. If you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.